Hello, everybody. All right, this is a crowd here. It's going to get a little bit intimate. I'm here to introduce the next section here, which is a topic that I really am close to, is the time to value. Right? We talk about it. There's some arts, there's some science to it. Right? There's a sequence and a way of doing things. But no better thing than to watch and hear customers that have done this at scale. Right? So Dirk hinted at it. And it's a pleasure to welcome on stage two companies, two leaders that have done this in record time, right? So please welcome to the stage. We have Brad Durr from Scheels and Haitham El-Qassam from LabelVie. Welcome. Brad, welcome. Well, first of all, thank you for doing this. It's great to have you here. Brad, you've been on stage. It's good. I want to start with maybe a brief introduction. I think it's good to hear just your background, the business you're in, right, and a little bit of the challenges that you're seeing. So let's start with you, Haitham. Like, if you can tell us a little bit about LabelVie. It's a unique concept that I think it's great to hear from.
I'm Haitham, CMO at LabelVie, the B2B business. Actually, LabelVie is one of the largest companies in Morocco. It's a distributor, a retailer, started in 1986. It's quite a success story in Morocco, since the company started with only 2 ambitious guys and 1 small store in Rabat, the capital of Morocco. Currently, we have about 300 stores in Morocco. We are also operating in some African countries and also in some European countries. And recently, in partnership with commercetools, we launched a new business, which is B2B e-commerce, delivering merchandise to small grocery retailers.
Yeah. Just a note, again, we've been talking about this, right? The unique way that you're doing this in a modern economy, right, is just fascinating. So I'm looking forward to share this with the.
Yeah, of course. Who has been in Morocco before? Please raise your hand.
Oh, we have some.
Not too much. Sorry, guys, we didn't plan to offer a trip to Morocco, but next time we maybe bring a camel or a flying carpet for you. Just to clarify, give you an understanding of the situation, in Morocco right now, we still have 85% of the grocery retailers in the traditional way. Even if we have a lot of modern brands, we still have 85% of the business in the traditional way. So, and during the recent years, we analyzed and saw that there is a huge increase in the internet adoption, but also in e-commerce adoption. That we discovered that there is a big billions of dollars we can reach in this market. Then we decided to offer to these small stores the possibility to order all the merchandise in one store, in one-stop shop, and then get delivered within 24 hours.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Haitham.
Welcome.
So let's move to you, Brad. I mean, you have a unique business model as well, bringing sort of the community feel of large stores and retail. If you can tell us a bit more about Scheels and what you do.
Yeah, Brad Durr, VP of e-commerce at Scheels. Been in the business tech space for 20 plus years at this point, and then have the privilege to lead our e-commerce team at Scheels for the last 8. A little bit about Scheels. We're categorized, I guess, as traditional sporting goods, but we sell everything from men's and women's fashion to hunting and fishing and outdoors. And then we primarily operate out of the Midwest. We have 34 store locations, but they're really large footprint stores, 150,000 to 300,000 square feet. In those stores, we're really considered destination entertainment retail. We have full Ferris wheels, candy shops, shooting galleries, and so it's a lot of entertainment. But really what we're known for is our experts. And so we spend a lot of time on the expertise of our associates, teaching them how to use the product so that we can provide really, really great service. Switching over to the digital side, this has really kind of been our challenge in the digital space, really for the last 8 to 10 years, is how do we recreate that unique experience that we have in store and bring that to our customers through a digital format. And I think that's what honestly has driven a lot of our technology changes, is we needed to move to a new platform that could support us and become way more agile and iterative so that we can reach those customers in kind of the unique way, the same way that we do in our stores.
Yeah, thank you. So we talk about time to value all the time. Value is kind of fuzzy. It can mean different things to different people. And let's start with you, Brad. If you could tell us a little bit, like, what is time to value? What has that brought to you, right, in terms of deploying at scale and in a speedy fashion?
Yeah, I think, we're an employee-owned company, and so I think it's a little bit unique of how we look at time to value. We truly think every dollar we spend is our own, right? Because as employee owners, we truly do expect that. So I think anytime when we think of time to value, we expect really urgent value out of any investment we make. And so when we kind of took on this project, we said, hey, we think we can get this running up in 90 days. In really aggressive time frame, but I think everybody bought into that. And really the expectation that we had is, really 30 days post-launch that we would be able to be hitting all those critical KPIs and really getting value out of the project that quickly, because it's just a little bit of how it's been ingrained in our culture and how we approach different things, and we were able to do that and accomplish that.
Hi, Tom. Similar question for you. I mean, you're something of a startup, of a disruptor in what you're doing. So time to value for you, what does that mean? What does that translate to?
For us, for LabelVie, I think that the most valuable resource isn't merchandise itself, but actually it's time. And we need to analyze, decide, and then take action really quickly. If we don't do it, someone else will do it in the market, and it will be really difficult to catch up. So when we started this project, we decided that it will be managed separately as a real startup, even if it's within a large company, in order to move really, really fast and get to the market on a record time. I think that we did it in less than 4 months. To be precise, it was 3 months and a half exactly to deliver the first MVP to our clients.
Yeah. So again, just to put this in perspective, right? We have average time to go live that go all the way to 8 months, sometimes 10 months. We have some outliers out there that go into multiple months, right? What your companies have achieved is just unreal, right? And maybe starting with you, Brad, I mean, you mentioned 90 days after signature. You went live just before Black Friday and Cyber Monday, right? With a big bang approach. I would say this takes a lot of backbone, to use that term. Can you describe a little bit how you got to some of these decisions, right? I mean, this is bold, right, in a way to execute.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes back to a little bit the time to value question, right? Like, we knew we had the team in place to do it. We did it all in-house. We got the team on board, and really it was kind of the culture of saying, hey, we think we have the right people to do this. We have the support within the organization, and I think it's just a high level of trust in what we can get accomplished. And as we've had a couple different conversations, it really was about making decisions really, really quickly, trusting those decisions, and then iterating through the process. Not every decision that we made was perfect, but the team, I think, went in with this mindset that, hey, even if we make the wrong decision, we can pivot because we're actually making these decisions really, really fast. And then, again, a little bit of, it goes back to, I think, a few presentations is just, if you have the right people and it's all about the people, they can deliver this really, really kind of cool, unique, fast approach, and that's what we were able to do.
Yeah. Hi, Tom. In a similar vein, right? You self-implemented, right, which is also another dimension. And I'm curious as to how you make decisions on speed without compromising quality. So how did you get that balance? Right? And also, you mentioned some of the pace that you guys have been on, which is, I think, something to share.
Yeah, exactly. As Brad said, people are a really important resource, but also a good partner. When you have a good partner, you can go really fast and deliver really quickly. When we started the project, we decided to do it the classic way, which means that having an integrator with us in order to help us. But early on, we discovered that commercetools was something really easy, really well documented, and really clear. Then we decided to internalize the product and have our own developers working on it. This decision helped us to iterate really, really quickly and have a really fast decision making in order to deliver in a record time.
Yeah. Great. So I'm seeing some themes here in terms of the way you captured the essence of what you needed to do, execute quickly with teams that are operated very autonomously, right? I mean, these are some of the things that you've been sharing. I guess moving on to aspects of the project, and I'll start with you, Brad. If you can tell us more about the scoping and the sequencing, right? There's a way that we recommend, like these are the core themes, here's how you go about, right? There's kind of a standard way of going about this based on your scope, but can you share a little bit of how you've made those decisions and maybe some of the good, the bad, the ugly a little bit, right? This isn't necessarily a smooth way, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think first and critical piece was we put together a key project team, and that project team had to have a really in-depth knowledge of our business, our current processes, our current system, but they had to be really open-minded to what we were going to do going forward. And we had a lot of conversations about, do we have to bring the custom stuff that we used to do, or should we just take what's out of the box? And I think anytime we got into that decision-making of, we didn't really know if our custom stuff was actually better than what was out of the box, we always led with out of the box. Let's start there and we can iterate from there. So I think in our decision-making and our scoping and our process, we took that project team and then we really wanted to get proof of concepts out as fast as possible. So we started with weekly sprints for about 6 weeks. And really the goal of that was to take key pieces, homepage, search, PLPs, PDPs, and checkouts, so that after those 6 weeks of those 6 weekly sprints, we were actually having a working site, and we were able to accomplish that. But then I think there was a little bit of lull in there at that point of saying, are we moving fast enough to actually hit our 90-day time frame? And so I think a pivotal decision that our project team made was to move to daily sprints. And I think it really kept us as a project team on track because we really broke things down into these bite-sized chunks. And we were able to divvy it out not only amongst our dev teams, but our content teams, creative teams, analysts, merchandisers, really an entire team. And it just felt like we were making a ton of progress every single day. We were knocking off 20 to 30 tasks every single day. And I think that just created this momentum and this flywheel. And pretty soon everybody was seeing changes on the site every day of these things we were getting done. And everybody was bought into what's next, what's next. And so it was kind of a really cool iterative process of, hey, we had the weekly sprints, but maybe after the end of those, we were slowing down a little bit, so we went to these daily sprints, and it really turned fast at that point.
Fascinating. Again, I just see and again, we were on site in the middle of February in Fargo, which was a big commitment here to actually come and visit you. But and I'm glad we did, by the way. I'm glad we did. We got invited and we showed up. But it showed, right, in the way that your team is moving as a unit. And I think that level of commitment and that level of, nobody wants to be the sort of person that's going to slow the whole team down. And that chemistry is unique. So,
yeah, for sure. I mean, I think we've talked about it so many times. I think it is the people, the partnership, and in the culture. And, we've asked a few different times of like, how do we package this up, right? And there's parts of it that you definitely can, but I think you got to have the right people and the culture. And we know we're a little bit unique being employee owned, and I think that goes a long ways in the pride that people took in this type of project, and it made a difference.
Yeah. So continuing on the theme of scope, right? We had this conversation over dinner and talked about some of the unique things that you've done with our platform. Sometimes realizing that the functionality just isn't there, but let's try things, right? So I'd be interested in just how you make those decisions at some point. Like, there's a bit of a make or buy, right? Is there something out there? I'm interested in just the way that you orchestrate those decisions and then go and test things. Because I think the ability to experiment is huge, right, for you to disrupt. Again, if you can say more.
Yeah, currently we're launching many tests on the similar time. And to be honest, when we started, we used to deliver maybe 2 to 3 orders a day. It was a kind of friends and family stage with $150 as an average GMV per day. It's very small, but for us it was kind of a proof of concept. We wanted to be sure that everything is working, and for us there is one watchword, which is if it doesn't impact the sales journey, the critical journey, it's not really important. We can test it later. Then first we started with the critical journey, order, then deliver. I think it was a year from now, we used to deliver $150 a day. Currently, in less than 12 months later, we recently approximately reached the 300K, which is an exceptional growth within 12 months. So to clarify, our strategy is try to keep the critical journey safe, and then have different tests besides this journey.
Yeah. So continuing on the theme, I think you already went there in terms of ROI, and we talk about time to value, which is how fast we get to these early outcomes. Can you say more? I mean, I think we've talked about some of the expansions that you're taking with that approach. If it worked in Morocco, it's going to work in other parts of the continent, but which is also part of the ROI there. What are you seeing this enabling you as a business to grow, right?
Honestly, the discussion about exporting and scaling this business in the other countries was planned to be within the years, maybe 2 to 3 years. But as we are now seeing the results and seeing that the market does really need this kind of services, especially for B2B customers, I think even our chairman is thinking about accelerating the scale up to the other countries. Maybe I can give you a clear explanation of the context. The traditional grocery in Morocco is between 15 to 30 square meters. It's really small shop. And all of them have a small counter between 1 to 2 meters where they do receive merchandise from around 10, an average of 10 delivery per day, different provider. They do serve the customers, which is really difficult for them to manage during the whole day. So what we're coming with is a solution that allows them to order everything from one-stop shop and then get delivered very quickly. Since it's a B2B, they are delivered in 24 hours, which is really a solution that solves a lot of problems. That's why we're seeing a great opportunity in the market, and we're also seeing a great opportunity in extending the services and this project to the other countries, especially African countries, and maybe also where we're based in European countries.
Yeah. So this goes well beyond just processing orders here, right? You're capturing new markets, expanding into new regions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. In the similar vein, Brad, I mean, what the ROI for you on hard dollars or values that you've been getting? Can you say more about that?
Yeah, as I spoke about a little bit earlier, in that first 30 days of going live, we really wanted to match our previous KPIs, and we were able to do that and exceed those really within those 30 days. And as you alluded to, we approached our busiest holiday season, and it was the best. We had significant sales growth over that holiday season, and I think that just showed that we could move really, really quickly, but we didn't have to take a step back. But I think one of the biggest, there's two other really big changes past the sales that I think we're still seeing today is, one, just a really different mindset shift within our team is, we feel like anything is possible at this point. And I think that's such a powerful narrative is when we start believing in that, we start even going faster than we were moving before. And I think as we've started out this year past the transition is the amount of things that we're getting done and the speed that we're doing it, I think that's honestly the real value, which will come back to sales and growth in the long run. But it's just the change in the dynamic of the team has been really, really special to watch and step back and see.
Yeah. So Brad, continuing with you, I mean, I look at this journey, and again, I remember seeing some of the metrics of year-on-year growth from your Cyber Monday and Black Friday sales, which were double digits, right? That was truly impressive. Yet this wasn't just all a walk in the country, right? Yeah. Could you share some of the tougher times maybe, and how you were able to recover from these? Are there lessons learned things you would have done differently maybe?
Yeah, and there's always lesson learned, and as you're going through, I think you're trying to evaluate, and just like you're approaching the project, you're approaching the team dynamic, and I think a lot of things that we learned early on was just maybe where we had to go a little bit deeper and explore a little bit more. We probably moved a little bit too fast in certain areas and had to step back and regroup and maybe spend a little bit more time of saying, okay, how do we build this out? How do we actually want to do this? There's a few things post-launch that we were like, we should have just done this differently. So, I mean, no way would I sit up here and say it was 100% perfect throughout. That's where we needed that time post-launch to reevaluate. And once you start throwing live transactions, customers at it, you find out really quickly where maybe you didn't think through the whole piece, but again, it was the power of getting there and then iterating after that, I think, was the real value for us.
Yeah. If you were to summarize maybe to someone who's coming to you saying, hey, we're thinking of doing this, what hints, what recommendations would you have? I mean, is there a couple of capsule statements you would provide?
Yeah, there's definitely a few recommendations. Is one, I think you got to have your organization on board for doing this. I don't think you can move at the speed as we did, as if your entire organization doesn't have a high level of trust with your team in allowing you to make those decisions without a whole lot of oversight, and I think we had that luxury. Number two, I think your partnerships are key. Our partnership with commercetools, but we also moved our search, CMS, we did a payments migration about 30 days ahead of this, and so we leaned on those partners heavily, and we were very upfront with those partnerships of, hey, we want to accomplish this in a really short time frame. Can you match our intensity, and can we speed some of these things along that maybe we would have traditionally done with other partners? So, you know, our partnerships, we feel like we got a little bit lucky with the partners. We did the vetting process, but I think every one of them was able to match that intensity and that speed that we wanted to move at, which was critical for us.
Nice, nice. Hi, Tim. Some stories from the front. Again, I imagine in the economies and the dynamics that you're going through, there's a lot of unknowns. I was thinking and talking to your leadership yesterday, over at dinner, right? There's this mystery around adoption, right? It's like, is this going to work? Are people going to actually do this, right? Again, curious as to some lessons learned there.
For us, first thing is partnership. You really need to have good partnership, good tools also. Team is also important to have the right team or with the right vision, and everybody's going to the same way, which is also very important. In my opinion, I think the third most important thing is it doesn't need to be perfect at the beginning. We just need to deliver something that solves customers' problems, but it doesn't need to be 100% perfect at the beginning. And I may add also to always keep in touch or also keep in contact with the customers, because it's a kind of huge mine of information, of insights. Currently, we're visiting customers on a weekly basis. All the team are visiting not all the customers, but the most important customers, depending on the segments, etc., in order to gather all the insights, gather information, and make the necessary improvement in our solution.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving into sort of a conclusion here, I'm curious as to, could you share some of the things as what's next, right? We've been talking about omni-channel, the convergence of in-store and online, people starting shopping experiences online and completing orders in the store, returns, all these things. What's on your roadmap? If you could share a few thoughts of, like, now that you've gone live, you've got a few months under your belt. Curious.
Yeah, I think from our perspective, obviously AI is a hot topic and something we continue to spend a lot of time on as an organization. I think there's times you feel like you're doing well, and other times you feel like you're behind, and so that's obviously a big initiative for us is where and how do we use that from operational efficiency to personalized experience. I just think there's a ton of opportunity there, and we just got to invest the time to continue to figure that out. Personalized experience, I talked about a little bit. I think that's a massive one for us. We've wanted to get there for a long time, and we're doing some things, but in all honesty, we're not to one-to-one personalized experience, which will really deliver a unique experience for our customers. So those are things that we're working on. There's always a lot of other ideas and projects and things that we'll vet through, but I would say those are two of our biggest ones.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, Time. I'm curious as to what's coming next. Again, I'm sure there's some things you cannot disclose, but you seem to be really into this expansion. I'm curious both on the functional side and on the business expansion side, if you can share a few, like, what's on your roadmap.
For us, as we're still in the launching stage, for sure our next step is try to cover the whole country. Currently, we're operating in 5 cities, so our main objective for now is to try to reach and cover the whole country. And of course, on the meantime, we're also working on implementation of AI solutions in order to make life easier for our grocers.
Yeah. You've mentioned something around voice activation and ordering, a list of groceries that some people may not have been very, digital natives, let's call them, but
Yeah.
can you say more about this? I thought that was a really cool AI piece. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Actually, announced yesterday the launching of the voice order AI. We were also working on the same thing, but it was in Darija, which is the local language in Morocco, since our clients are not very digitized and sometimes they do have old smartphones. So we're trying to make the purchase journey very easier for them. And we're currently, I think that we will launch it within weeks. The same thing that they can order via AI with the agent that helps them taking orders only via voice.
So you're seeing people leapfrogging from not having to click through orders, directly voice ordering their
Yes, exactly.
shopping list directly. That
Exactly.
is amazing.
We know that they are really busy during the day. They do serve customers, receive orders, etc. So we're trying to make the purchasing journey very easy and very quick for them.
Okay, great. Well, with that, I want to thank you both for taking the time, sharing your
Welcome.
experiences. I encourage you to reach out and also approach some of this. I think there's a lot to learn from each other as you go and do these things. Again, some of the themes that I'm seeing here is a lot in common, right? In the way that you're doing things completely different, but in very similar ways. So, again, thank you so much for the time.
Welcome.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Eric.
Thank you. High time, thank you.
Welcome.